They might be the greatest team in football history. They are also the most heartbroken. 11 World Cups, 3 finals, and not a single trophy. The Netherlands, the team that reinvented modern football, has never lifted the World Cup. So here's the question. Will the summer of 2026 finally be the moment they break the curse? Or just another heartbreak waiting to happen? Today we break this team down completely, their strengths, their cracks, and how far they can really go. To understand how heavy this curse is, you first have to understand how great the Dutch were. In the 1970s, Johan Cruyff and coach Rinus Michels changed football forever with total football, an idea that shaped a generation, from Barcelona to Guardiola. The Netherlands gave the game legends: Cruyff, Van Basten, Gullit, Bergkamp, Robben, Sneijder. And yet this team lost the final in 1974 to West Germany, in 1978 to Argentina, and in 2010 to Spain. 3 times at the doorstep of glory. 3 times they fell. The most recent heartbreak came at Euro 2024, knocked out in the semi-final by a last-minute England winner 2-1. Let's be clear, the Dutch aren't without silverware. They won the European Championship in 1988. But the World Cup, football's ultimate prize, has always escaped them. That is the full weight of the greatest team to never win it curse. So why is this 2026 side a real contender? The answer isn't the attack, it's defense and control. Ronald Koeman sets up in a 4-3-3, but the moment they have the ball, it morphs into a 3-2-4-1. Right back Denzel Dumfries pushes high, almost a winger, while Frenkie de Jong drops deep. Van Dijk and Ake launch attacks with pinpoint long passing, while Mickey van de Ven's pace covers everything in behind. Look at the qualifiers: unbeaten in 8, 6 wins, 2 draws, 27 goals scored, only 4 conceded. Against weaker teams, this structure is almost airtight. Holding it together is a world-class back line. Captain Van Dijk anchors it alongside Ake of Manchester City, Van de Ven of Tottenham, Dumfries of Inter, plus Timber of Arsenal, and young Hato of Chelsea. In midfield, De Jong, fresh off winning La Liga with Barcelona, dictates the tempo with Reinders driving forward and Gravenberch providing the muscle. And here's a fun detail. This squad has 15 Premier League players and only 2 from the Dutch League. In a way, this is almost an English Premier League Netherlands. How good are they? This March in the Nations League, the Dutch went toe-to-toe with favorites Spain over 2 legs, finishing 5-5 on aggregate, proof they can trade blows with the very best. But before we get into where it all could fall apart for the Oranje, if you're enjoying this kind of deep tactical breakdown, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Alright, let's keep going. Here's the brutal paradox. The Netherlands can match almost anyone. The root of it is hidden inside that beautiful system. The first crack is down the right. When Dumfries bombs forward and becomes a winger, he leaves a huge space behind him. Against a team with a quick winger and a fast transition, say Japan, their group stage opponent, that space gets punished. That's not a player problem, that's the price of the system. The second crack is even more dangerous. Against strong teams, Dutch possession becomes useless possession. Top sides happily give them the ball and sit deep, and that's when the weakness shows. They don't have a striker who can solve a packed defense on his own. So you'll see the Netherlands dominating the ball around the edges and never turning it into goals. That's the real reason behind all the possession, none of the finishing. It's not effort, it's a mismatch between system and personnel. The third crack is creativity. De Jong controls, Reinders drives, Gravenberch battles beautifully balanced, but missing a pure creator who can thread the killer pass and unlock a low block. That role was meant for Xavi Simons, but a torn ACL has ruled him out completely, slicing the ceiling off this midfield. The attack is just as worrying. Memphis Depay is the Netherlands' all-time top scorer, 55 goals, past Van Persie, but he's 32 now, playing in Brazil for Corinthians, just back from injury, his form a mystery. Even Koeman could only say he'd wait and see. Daniel Malin is on fire at Roma, yet in that shootout against Spain, it was his missed penalty that sent them home. And the most telling pick is Crescencio Somerville, a player who hasn't even made his senior debut, called up on the back of 7 goals for West Ham. That alone tells you Koeman is scraping the barrel up front. And the injuries leave this team dangerously thin. Simons' ACL, Schouten's cruciate needing surgery, De Ligt left out with a back problem, De Vrij left out, Frimpong left out. A defensive depth once seen as luxurious has been gutted, and even Van Dijk faces questions over his age and recent form, while Timber's fitness for the start is far from certain. All of it peaked in that March clash with Spain. 5-5 over 2 legs, 4-5 on penalties, Malin misses, Pedri buries the winner. One game that proved both their ceiling and their fatal flaw. So how far can they go? The Dutch are in Group F, June 14th against Japan in Arlington, the 18th against Sweden in Houston, the 25th against Tunisia in Kansas City. Bookmakers have them as heavy favorites to win the group, with Japan their biggest threat. If they advance, they could run into a giant like Brazil in the round of 32. To go deeper, Koeman has levers to pull. He could drop Gakpo into a false 9, using movement to cover for the missing target man. He could use Wout Weghorst as a plan B, throw him on when chasing a game, go long, win second balls, the exact script that got him a late equalizer against Argentina in 2022. Or he could abandon possession entirely, counter with the pace of Van de Ven and Dumfries, and drag games into penalties. But remember, penalties are exactly how they lost to Spain, a double-edged sword. The reality is sobering. The Netherlands sit around the 8th tier of the betting odds, an implied chance of winning just under 5%, and the bookmakers' most likely outcome for them is a quarterfinal exit. 2 warm-up friendlies against Algeria and Uzbekistan will be the last window to read their form. So, back to where we started. This might be the least Dutch Netherlands team in history, no longer terrifying opponents with brilliant attackers, but surviving on an iron defense and pure control. But World Cup winners usually need someone who can conjure a goal out of nothing in a deadlock. The Netherlands have a world-class defense and a midfield that can run a match, but they might be missing that one final piece. So what do you think? Where do the Dutch fall this time? The lack of a striker, the creative void left by Simons, or yet another cruel penalty shootout? Or do you believe this defense can carry them all the way to the final and finally end a curse that's lasted half a century? Let me know in the comments.